Hello to all my friends out there. Another day, another dollar. Okay. In the morning, I like to come down to McDonald's. I like to load my videos. I like to sit here in my car home and relax. But the line is all the way out to the street. So what I finally, since I'm drinking tea, I bought a tea late last night on the way home. And then I just kept it in the refrigerator. And then this morning I put some ice in my tea and voila. Okay, I've been watching The Minimalists, and there was a good point on one of the shows. One of the guys said he buys clothes because he really loves clothes. I didn't even know I really love clothes or accessories. I want to mention something. See these adorable Kate Spade? See the little bows? You can find good sunglasses in thrift stores, and then I take them to Walmart and I get them adjusted. If you take care of your sunglasses, all you have to do is keep them mainly in a case and don't keep them in a hot car, which is what I always used to do. They should, in theory, last a lifetime. I am very destructive, though. So, on the issue of clothes, I was focused on hair all my life. I was a hairdresser from the time I got up in the morning until the time I went to bed at night. And all I saw was a head. That's it. So I just discovered this love of clothes and of fashion. I should have known, being a stylist. But anyway, this guy said he spends money on clothes because he really loves clothes. And I thought, yeah, that's a good idea. I love clothes too. As a matter of fact, I love clothes. I love shoes. I have men's alligator shoes. I don't have a boyfriend. They're men's alligator shoes. I just love those. And the idea is selling them, but I won't sell them because I really, really like them. I'm looking for a very small boyfriend with size 10 feet. Just kidding. That's not funny. Okay, so I'm thinking about, I want to buy clothes, and I shop for a living for luxury items. And so I can have all the luxury clothes I want just by carefully shopping in thrift stores. So I'm going to be doing that today. I bought a really nice silk blouse last week. Very cheap. So I'm not spending too much because, I'm on this money saving thing. It's going very well, by the way. The car living is dirt cheap. I see these women, this is bad. I see these women my age living in the car, and I park in the back row on the Walmart, and I look at them and I'm thinking, I could help you. You would have to de-hoard your car and, clean it up. So now, as you guys who have been watching me know, in San Diego, we had rain a lot, even hail, which is pretty unusual. And so what happened was the garbage flowed back into the U.S. from Tecate and Tijuana. And so what did I see? Diapers. I go, oh, puke. And so what they did was they set up these buoys with nets to catch the garbage. But what about all the unsanitary liquid that came up? So this is very, very nasty. So what I'm doing, just to make sure, is I am drinking bottled water so that there's no germs, bacteria, or virus in my water. And I finally discovered the 3 brands I like are Ramona, Sparklets, and PureFlow. So I can get Sparklets at Smart and Final. And then in my back seat, I keep my empty water bottles, and I go to the nice kiosks and I refill them a couple at a time. And then the other thing is I am not eating out right now. I haven't been eating out since, the pandemic started. I don't think it's safe enough. I can't trust you wash your hands. You don't have the COVID. So until this thing blows over a bit, I'm just eating at home, and we'll get into why that is really not the best. Okay, so another thing about these rains, or rains anywhere, is they generate insects, because there's lots of growth of foliage, and this fosters insects and also free floating nasty water as well. So today I'm going to buy a couple of tarps just in case, I should need them. I can use them at the swap meet. I buy the ones for $1, and I'm buying a couple cans of bug spray. I have bug spray. Okay, so like what bugs or insects? Mosquitoes, fleas, locusts, flies, and hornets. Okay, bodies of nasty water foster mosquitoes, which foster Zika virus, West Nile, chikungunya, dengue, and malaria. So mosquitoes are dangerous, and historically mosquitoes have caused a lot of hell. Fleas. Okay, fleas are really, really bad, and they can jump from like rats onto your pets, and they're just nasty. One time I was living in this apartment, and so this lady, she looked pretty decent. She had a couple cats. So what she did, I am the best tenant, you guys. You can say what you want. You can call me the word that rhymes with witch and starts out with a B. But what she did is she took the screens off the windows, and they actually moved out of the back so that the owner wouldn't find out. And so evidently they said when they went in, the fleas were jumping to their knees. So she was infested with fleas. In that apartment, we also had a case of the bed bugs. Yes. And they brought a bed bug sniffing dog into my dwelling. And I thought, how do I know that the bed bugs aren't on this bed bug sniffing dog? That was the worst apartment. Anyway, so fleas are really, really awful. I was shocked when I went to Texas one time. We went to Astro World, and I was sitting there, it was so hot. My sunglasses, people moved to Texas are in for a big surprise coming from San Diego. You know how I've been complaining, I'm so hot. Anyway, when the people were walking by, from the knees down, they were just covered with flea bites, and they had katydids. We have insecticide in California, no bugs. And I said, why don't they kill them? And she goes, I like the katydids. Okay, locusts. Now this is one of the judgments. And I did videos on locusts. And what happens is heavy rains and the landscapes can support a huge number of rapidly breeding insects. And what's bad about these locusts is not only do they eat the crops, but they also get into the crop storage. Not good. Locusts. Flies. Okay, in the end of times, the Lord of the Flies, we're supposed to have flies. Beelzebub, Lord of the Flies. One time I worked in this really nice area, and it was in the North County, and I go, what's with these horse flies all over? I thought I could never stand living here. Well, she goes, well, there's a dump up the street. And I thought, why would anybody pay a premium price to live by a dump? Flies are very nasty. They crawl in dog mess and then crawl around. I worked in shops. This is why I'm eating at home. And the flies would crawl on the food, and the girls would come into the back and like shovel it into their mouths. And I'm thinking, how the hell can you eat that? Well, it's eco-friendly, you guys. Okay, hornets. In the end of times, there has been prophecy that people are going to be stung by hornets. I had a small pile of hornets, and I asked the guy, could you get rid of them? And he did immediately. I was so happy. And you saw my yard, the jungle has been transformed. So happy. Okay, so flea-borne marine typhus bite insected animals, rats, cats, and possums. Okay, so now I want to talk just for a minute about food shortage items that would be wise to stock up on. Okay, so before the pandemic, 1 in 6 families was suffering food insecurity, and now is probably a lot higher. Okay, so now, like what food? I'm just going to skip. Okay, beef. The demand for beef is up, but the little problem is in the like grocery stores, the main product is hamburger, but the main product of steaks was restaurants, and now the restaurants are closed down going on 2 years, and so that hurts the beef crop, or the beef industry. They're saying we can expect expect increases in food and metals. What I think is, like, when this stock market starts going wacky, people are going to move to metals. So if you can afford a little silver now, it's probably a good idea. Okay, so the restaurants were the purchasers of steaks. Problem, they can't work. Okay, decline in dairy. So you might be thinking, well, why? Well, because the consumers of dairy, which would be cheese, butter, and ice cream, would be restaurants, but the consumers of milk were schools. Well, and restaurants. So we have beef, we have milk, and then eggs have spiked. And so what happened is restaurants buy eggs in the liquid form, like in bulk, and that comprised 30% of the purchasers of eggs. So that was a problem with eggs. From time to time, we've seen eggs spike really high. Potatoes. Well, the problem with potatoes is the purchasers of potatoes is restaurants as well. Okay, leafy greens and other produce. 60% retail, like groceries, 40% restaurant, schools, and hotels. And the hotels have been hit too. Okay, so now just about the judgments. Real quick. Okay, the judgment, where did I write it? Okay, the judgment of the white horse was conquerors and pestilence, which would be contagious disease. So this could indicate the first horse, the white horse. Some people say it was Satan. Some people say it was Christ. It's possible that it was just some kind of angelic being on the back of this horse. But with this horse comes the judgment of pestilence. Okay, then the judgment of lice. People on the earth were worshiping an idol, a fertility goddess with the head of a frog, and the lice were sent out as a judgment for worshiping an idol. Then there was the god of creation, movement of the sun, otherwise worshiping the sun god, and that brought, and rebirth, otherwise reincarnation, and that brought infestation of flies. Okay, so even if you're a Christian and you don't believe in the Bible, and you start seeing these massive exoduses, or these flies, these lice, it's not good. And then Seth, god of storms and disorder, there was hail and locusts. So like every time there was hail, I go, yikes. But locusts are really, really bad because they gobble up the crops, usually following rains, and they gobble up the food storage. Also, the rain destroys the food storage as well. So that is why it is so important. This is why I like cans. The food is inside the cans. No rats can get in the cans. Water is not going to get in the cans. Insects are not going to get into the cans. So that's why I pretty much like. And also, if you have to move the cans, it's so much easier. Okay, you guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. And God bless you all.